Tony Evans of the Urban Alternative Ministry is going to play the role of Alan West, or Herman Cain here, and basically berate black people on a podcast for the current state of black America.
What does the black community need to get about itself in order to help build those bridges?
Okay. First thing we've got to get back to is the biblical standard that God holds us to. Not the white guy, not even other black, God holds us to. And the biggest problem in black America today is the breakdown of the family.
Okay.
The breakdown of the family is unraveling us as a community. When 70% plus of your children are being born out of wedlock and the fathers are not there to tend to them, you've got chaos in the community. That's crime, that's unemployment, and most of these kids are going to be raised in poverty. And that's something we control. That's something we control. The white man is not making you do that. He's not forcing you into that position. That's a convenient out. In slavery, when we did not have laws on our side, the community on our side, the government on our side, the broader community on our side, our families were a lot stronger. We were a lot more unified, and we made a lot more progress.
Black people made more progress during slavery. And of course, he does the typical right-wing douchebag move of, family's the problem, family. First of all, whenever people make that argument, like, what's your point? What's your policy goal? Because we're talking about how to fix problems here, right? And their idea is, like, just berate black people until what? They stay married longer? What you think that's going to work? You think it's like, or what do you want the government to come in there and say, we're banning divorce? Or what do you want? I don't know what you want. You just want to berate black people and say, the family's the problem, family. Things happen in life. People don't always stay together. What are you going to do? There's nothing you can do to micromanage that or control that. That's not an issue that the government can get involved in to try to keep them together or force certain circumstances. But understand, man, that's not true in the first place because the problem isn't the family. President Obama, for example, was raised by a single mother. I mean, my parents divorced when I was 12 or something like that. So the issue isn't what kind of a living circumstance are the kids being raised in. The issue is there material well-being there for the kids? So I came from a family that at times we were upper middle class, and at times we're more middle class. But either way, we were never struggling, okay? And that's what you find is even if there's divorce and the family's not together or it's not your run-of-the-mill Leave It to Beaver family, what you find is that kids usually do well when there's some kind of stability. So if one parent is really there for them, taking care of them, and other family members are there for them, right? So it could be a single-parent household. No problem with that. As long as there's material well-being, as long as there's, they're not living in abject poverty, then they're going to be okay. That's what it really comes down to. And by the way, we know from other research on this issue, the more money that people make, the more likely they are to actually stay together in a family. So if your concern is family above all else here, well, then the first thing you should argue for is to have better income to go to the black community and to poor and middle-class communities in general, and then that would foster the proper conditions so that the next generation is better off. But he makes it seem like, all the problems in the black community are, just point the finger at black people and blame them. But what you're disregarding is the decimation of what used to be middle class in America. And this includes a lot of the black community. I mean, we're talking about you used to be able to get a good manufacturing job, a good factory job, and you can make a decent living and you can raise a family. Well, ever since all the so-called free trade deals were put into place, they're really just outsourcing deals, all those jobs are gone now. So you have families that used to be able to live a decent life. Now they're like, either they're unemployed or they're taking really lower wage jobs because, it's harder to, you already need to be fairly established in order to go to the best schools and to, get a job in corporate America or something like that. And let's face it, there are, things blocking black America from going down that road. It's not like systemic racism doesn't exist. And there's also the issue of wealth passed down from generation to generation. White families had hundreds of years of a head start on black families. So when like a white parent dies, they hand down like $100,000 or more in wealth to their kids. Well, black people were just on paper considered, equal citizens in 1965. So there hasn't been this generational thing going on where they can save money and then pass the money on and give their kids a head start. It's like they're all starting from scratch because there's an openly racist system in place. So they don't have that head start. All the jobs were shipped overseas with NAFTA and other free trade deals. And they're in a perpetual cycle of poverty because largely factors that have nothing to do with their individual effort. Of course they're putting in the effort, but what does this guy do? He steps up and he's like, it's your fault. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. No, the problem is a systemic problem. Yes, black America is trying. If you talk to them, they'll fucking tell you that. That's not the issue. The issue is not effort. They all want to have a better life. The issue is the things we just laid out. There are systemic problems, there are inheritance problems, and there's deep economic problems, not only tied to outsourcing, but also tied to money and politics and the fact that that's decimated the social safety net. So virtually everything Tony Evans said about diagnosing the problem is incorrect. The only area where he makes some sense is the later part, which you guys didn't see, where he just tries to give an uplifting message and say, you could lift yourself up no matter what place you're in. You can try to override the bad statistics, essentially. That part, we'll give him a pass. He made some decent points there, but the diagnosis of the problem is horribly off base.